Hello, everyone. Jim Chester coming to you live from the New Beginnings Chiropractic Weekend. I have Dr. John Minardi with me. He just lit the stage up a couple hours ago and talked to people right before lunch about his amazing topic. And I'm going to let him share with you a little bit about what he talked to the group about, and then we're just going to rock and roll from there.
Thanks, brother. I talked about how the subluxation affects the immune system, one of my favorite talks to talk about. So we basically tell people how the immune system works, what breaks it down, and then why chiropractic is so important with the chiropractic adjustment of how it affects your brain. And by affecting the brain, increases immune system, antibodies, decreases overall inflammation. It's to really give the chiropractor more certainty. So the more certainty you have, the better your philosophy is in chiropractic, right? The more you know the science, the more you can back up your philosophy. And as long as you're adjusting everybody, you understand how you're affecting the brain. So that's what we covered today.
And see, that's powerful stuff, and it's delivered really quick. And that's something that you have on your side is you have a very rapid response to your audience. And tell me a little bit about what it means for you to be at the New Beginnings weekend.
Well, New Beginnings, I always say that I have a few seminars that I love to be at. And in the East Coast, if you're anywhere near the New York area, New Beginnings is the philosophy seminar that you have to be at, because it will bring you speakers that are phenomenal philosophy speakers, people who bring the science aspect and blend philosophy with it, and then obviously the art aspect as well. So if you're anywhere in the East Coast, this is my favorite event to speak at in the East Coast. It's you can't get better than this. If you're anywhere around here and you're not getting here, you're doing yourself a disservice. So I love it here. I love Jim Dubell, his wife. They do such a great job,
And I agree with you. Like everything you just said, like the East Coast stuff, the Dubells and what they do for the chiropractic world, and some of the amazing speakers that you get a chance to be on stage and share that stage with, I think is a real honor for not only you, but for the people in the audience that are sitting there taking in this information. Sure. And I've heard nothing but good comments coming to me about your presentation today. Awesome. So I think that's a huge boost of confidence for you, and not only for that, but it just means that they're bringing on high caliber presenters delivering very thought-provoking talks. For sure. And I think that's one of the things that really fuels these type of events is not only the quality content, but the individuals that's delivering that.
For sure. Absolutely. I mean, you got to remember, right? Like all of these speakers are bringing their passion, they're bringing their knowledge, but they're bringing their passion behind it. So whether they are talking about the immune system or if they're talking about specific principles of chiropractic, you see everybody put their heart into it. So when you're there, you feel that, right? You feel the emotion. And if you're at all like uncertain and you're like, especially as a new grad, especially, right? Like I know what you're indoctrinated with graduating from many of these chiropractic colleges. You got to really dip yourself back into what real chiropractic is. And you're surrounded by experts in doing that. Like I was just talking to Fred Schofield and Neil Cohen. These guys are masters in chiropractic and they've been there for like 20, 30, 40 years. These are the people you want to surround yourself with, so you can't lose coming to events like this because you're surrounded by giants in the profession.
And something I just wanted to touch base on you with a little bit is, what would you recommend to somebody that might be out maybe 2-3 years that's like kind of scuttling along and not really hitting their chiropractic success stride?
You have to surround yourself with the right people. And a lot of times, especially if you've been out a year, 2 years, 3 years, if you haven't been surrounding yourself with successful people, it's going to be very difficult for you to find your way, right? Because unfortunately, school does not really give you the support that you need to run a business. It doesn't give you the support you need to like just pick up from scratch and say, here you go. And unfortunately, a lot of people struggle with that. So you have to surround yourself with great quality people that have already done it, that have already, done all the back roads for you, right? Like if they've done all the work, why reinvent the tire? Just learn from them, So that's why I say get yourself to these type of events. And a lot of people say to me, John, but I'm broke. I don't have money for seminars. I'm telling you right now, the investment that you make in seminars like this will come back to you 10 times because of the knowledge you get for what you can bring back to your patients, how you can run a better practice, the more certainty you have in chiropractic, how your art will improve. You need to surround yourself with the right people. So that's the best advice I can give people. Mm-hmm.
And I know you said you've been out 17 years. How did you get from 17 years where you finished and got your diploma to where you are today?
The biggest thing, I followed advice of an individual. When I first went into chiropractic college, he said to me, he was a friend from university who was in an older year. And he said, John, I got to tell you something. He pulled me aside and he said, if you only learn the things that you learn in school here, you will not be a good chiropractor. He said, take it from me because I'm about to graduate next year and I do not feel like a chiropractor. And it scared me, right? And so I looked at him, I said, so what do I do? Like, I'm just in first year, I don't know what to do. And he said, go to as many seminars as you can. He goes, go to technique seminars, go to philosophy seminar, go to neurology seminar. He goes, go to as many seminars as you can. That's where you learn real chiropractic. And so I was lucky that he scared the pants off of me because I sat back and I just started to go at every seminar I could while I was a student. And trust me, I was as broke could be. But I went to every seminar that I could and I surrounded myself with successful people. When I looked at people, I'm like, I want to be like that guy. I want to be like her. I want to, and it gave me something to shoot for. And if I wouldn't have done that, there's no way I would have the success I have now. There's just no way.
So let's talk to people about how you started making those opportunities for yourself and how now you're invited to these big stages to tell your story of chiropractic and what it means to you.
Right. The big thing is that you have to own it. Right. And my first opportunity came when I was still a student. Someone was watching me teach Thompson technique to other students, and they were seeing the way I explained the neurology of the leg lengths to other students. And it was a chiropractor who was a teacher of technique. And he just came up to me and he said, I've never heard that before. He said, would you mind teaching that exact thing at a seminar that's coming up? And I said, sure. So I started to teach that. And the funny thing about it was this: I stayed at the back of the room to help this gentleman out. He was an older chiropractor and very well versed and great at the technique. Then the crowd started to ask him questions like, why does this work? Why does the leg length change when you adjust? Why does this happen? Why does this happen? And he couldn't answer it because he didn't have the knowledge behind him. And then I raised my hand from the back of the room and I said, I can actually answer that question. And the whole crowd turned, like you have 300 people in the room. They all turned to this little kid. And I said, the answer is this. And it all made sense to people. Like, oh, cool. And as they asked more questions, after a while, they stopped asking this gentleman the questions. They just turned around and asked me the questions, said, can you explain this? Can you explain this? And I could the entire weekend. And after that, this gentleman came up to me and said, listen, you should really speak on this a lot more. He said, because this is what's really needed in the chiropractic profession, because especially back then, almost 20 years ago, there was big divides between science, philosophy, and art. And I'm here to tell you, there should be no divide at all. It should be all one unit. So if you really own something and are passionate about it and just know everything about it, someone will see you and an opportunity will come to you and you'll be ready to go and do and present and do that stuff. So you have to prepare yourself first